Ethan sat at his desk, staring at his computer screen. The sky outside was dark, and the quiet hum of the city felt strangely peaceful. His job was nothing special. He worked as a clerk in a small office, processing data for the government. Had been simple and routine, and that's exactly how Ethan liked it. His phone buzzed, breaking the calm. A notification flashed on the screen. "You've been assigned a wife and it's me." Ethan blinked in confusion. Was it a joke? Quickly opened the message, expecting to see a meme or a funny video. But it wasn't a joke. It was a formal communication from the government. He read the words again, his mind struggling to understand. He rubbed his eyes, but the message didn't change. The message was brief. You have been selected for a new program. As part of Earth's alliance with the Zarya, each human is being assigned a Zarya companion. Your companion is waiting for you at the Government Liaison Center. Her name is Lyra. Please report immediately. Ethan stared at the screen, unsure of how to respond. The Zarya were an alien race who had recently made contact with Earth. They were small, advanced, and known for their peaceful nature. Ethan had heard of the Zarya, but he never expected to be involved with them in such a personal way. What does this even mean? He muttered to himself. He had no idea what to do next. He wasn't sure if he was supposed to be honored or nervous. A wife? From an alien species? Trying to shake off his shock, Ethan grabbed his jacket and headed out the door. His mind raced as he made his way to the government center. The streets were filled with people, and signs of the new intergalactic relationship were everywhere. Posters, advertisements, and news stories about Earth's new alliances with alien species. But none of it prepared him for the strange, unexpected turn his life was about to take. The Government Liaison Center was a sleek, modern building, its glass walls reflecting the city lights. Inside, the air smelled sterile, and the walls were lined with holographic displays of Earth's new diplomatic agreements. Ethan's heart raced as he entered the building. Unsure of what to expect, he approached the front desk, where a uniformed officer greeted him. "Ethan Grayson?" the officer asked. "Yeah, that's me." The officer smiled politely. "You're here to meet your assigned companion, correct? Please follow me." Ethan nodded, still trying to process everything. The officer led him down a long corridor, stopping in front of a room with a door that looked like it belonged on a spaceship. With a soft beep, the door slid open, revealing a small alien woman standing inside. She was no taller than 5 feet, with smooth, pale skin that shimmered slightly in the light. Her large silver eyes were filled with warmth, and her short hair was a soft shade of lavender. She wore a simple but elegant white outfit that seemed to blend with her surroundings. Despite her small size, there was an undeniable strength in the way she carried herself. "Hello, Ethan," she said in a soft, melodic voice. "I'm Lyra, your assigned wife." Ethan froze. He had expected something, but this was nothing like what he had imagined. The alien woman was so different, yet there was a calmness about her that made him feel at ease. Hi," he said, unsure of what else to say. "I wasn't expecting." "Well, this." Lyra smiled warmly, her eyes sparkling. "It's understandable. You must have a lot of questions." "Don't worry, I'll be happy to answer them. But first, would you like to sit down?" Ethan nodded and stepped into the room, feeling strangely nervous. He sat down on a chair, trying to make sense of the situation. I don't really know what's happening. You're my wife. But you're not human." Lyra tilted, her head slightly, her smile never fading. "Yes, that's correct. In our culture, we form partnerships with other species as part of our intergalactic diplomacy. The Zarya believe in forming deep connections, and these partnerships are a way to strengthen the bond between us and Earth. Your assignment is a part of this process." Ethan was still struggling to understand. "So, we're married?" Lyra nodded. "Yes, but not in the way humans may think. Our bond is more about partnership and mutual respect than anything else. We will work together, learn from each other, and help Earth and the Zarya grow closer. It is a bond of shared responsibility." Ethan opened his mouth to respond, but no words came out. He had never expected anything like this. He had imagined that meeting an alien would be different, maybe something more official, less personal. But here he was, sitting in a room with an alien woman who was apparently his wife. "So what now?" Ethan asked, his voice a little shaky. "What am I supposed to do?" Lyra's expression softened and she walked over to him, sitting down across from him. "For now, we begin our partnership. We will start by getting to know each other. I'll help you with the things you need to learn about our cultures. You'll teach me about human customs, and together we'll navigate this new chapter in both of our lives." Ethan took a deep breath. This was real. His life was about to change in ways he couldn't yet understand. But for the first time in a long while, he felt a spark of curiosity. Maybe this unexpected assignment wouldn't be so bad after all. "Well," Ethan said, forcing a smile, "I guess we have a lot to talk about." Lyra's smile widened. "Yes, we do. But don't worry, Ethan. I'm sure we'll figure it out together." As Ethan looked at her, something unexpected happened. A sense of calm washed over him. He had no idea what the future held. But for the first time in a long while, he felt like maybe, just maybe, it would be an adventure worth taking. Ethan sat in the small, clean room with Lyra, the alien he was now supposed to call his wife. It felt strange. The whole situation felt strange. One moment, he was just a regular office worker on Earth, and the next, he was sitting with an alien. A woman who had been assigned to him for some kind of diplomatic mission, so Ethan started trying to break the silence. "I guess we should get to know each other?" Lyra smiled, her big silver eyes looking at him with curiosity. "Yes, that is the best way to begin. I want to understand human customs, and I think you would like to know about the Zarya." Ethan scratched the back of his head, feeling a little awkward. "Right. Well, I guess I should start by telling you about me." He paused, unsure of how to begin. "I work at a data processing job. Nothing exciting, just sitting in an office. All day my parents wanted me to be more, but I never really knew what I wanted to do. I just kept doing what I was told." Lyra nodded thoughtfully, listening intently. "That's interesting," she said. "I think I understand. In my culture, we are taught from a young age to find purpose in serving others, in helping our people. That's how we grow, by making connections and working together." Ethan raised an eyebrow. "Serving others, huh? That sounds different from what we do here. Most people in my country are focused on themselves, getting ahead in life, trying to climb the ladder. But I guess that's not how it works where you're from." Lyra smiled. "That's true. But that is why we are here, to learn from each other. You will teach me about human ways, and I will share Zarya customs with you." Ethan leaned back in his chair, trying to relax. "So, what exactly does being your husband mean? It's like, what am I supposed to do now?" Lyra's face softened as she looked at him with understanding. "It's not the same as how humans see marriage. The Zarya, the bond we form, is about partnership. It is not just about living together or sharing a home. It is about growing together, helping each other understand our different worlds. We support one another." Ethan thought about that for a moment. It made sense, in a way. His life wasn't all about being with someone for the sake of tradition or expectation. He had always struggled with relationships, unsure of what to make of them. But Lyra seemed to be talking about something different. Connection built on mutual respect and shared goals. "So," Ethan said, trying to shift the conversation, "what's it like where you come from? What's your planet like?" Lyra's eyes lit up. "The Zarya homeworld is a place of peace and growth. We live in harmony with nature. Our cities are built into the environment, not separate from it. We do not harm the land. We use it to help us grow. Our technology is advanced, but we value the balance of nature and progress. We believe that to thrive, we must live in harmony with the world around us." Ethan was fascinated. "That sounds incredible. We're still struggling with that balance here on Earth. A lot of people talk about sustainability and protecting the environment, but it's not always easy." Lyra nodded. "I understand. The Zarya have had many centuries to learn these lessons, but even we are not perfect. We have made mistakes in our history, but we learned and we adapted." Ethan was beginning to feel a strange sense of admiration. For her people, they had a wisdom that he could only dream of. Maybe, just maybe, this was the reason he had been paired with Lyra. Perhaps he could learn something from her. Something important. "Do you have any family?" Ethan asked, curious about Lyra's background. "I do," Lyra replied, her smile fading slightly. "I have a mother and father, both of whom serve the Zarya in important roles. My family has been part of the diplomatic efforts between our species for many years. That is why I am here, to continue the work of my people and help Earth and the Zarya form a lasting connection." Ethan felt a pang of sympathy for her. It must be tough, being away from your family like this. Lyra shrugged. "It is a challenge, but it is my duty, and duty is something we value deeply. I will be able to communicate with them through our advanced technology, and when my mission here is complete, I will return to my home." Ethan paused, thinking about what she said. It wasn't easy, being far away from home, especially when your life's work was so important. He couldn't imagine what it would be like to leave everything behind for a mission like this. "I guess we both have a lot to learn," Ethan said with a small smile. "I don't really know what I'm doing with my life, but maybe this whole thing with you could help me figure it out." Lyra smiled back. "I hope so, Ethan. You don't have to have all the answers now. We will learn together. I will be here to help you just as you will help me." Ethan thought about her words. They weren't just talking about their cultures or their roles. In this partnership, they were talking about finding something more, something deeper. Maybe this was the change he had been looking for, even if it came in the most unexpected way. As the conversation continued, Ethan felt more at ease. The awkwardness of the situation began to fade, replaced by a sense of curiosity and excitement. It wasn't just about living with an alien. It was about the possibility of a new life. It's a chance to understand a culture far different from his own, and a chance to make a real difference in the world. "I'm glad we're doing this," Ethan said, more confidently than before. "It's going to be an adventure." Lyra's eyes sparkled with a mix of excitement and determination. "Yes, Ethan, together we will make this work. The future is full of possibilities." Smiled, maybe this strange, unexpected assignment wasn't such a bad thing after all. It was the beginning of something new, something bigger than he had ever imagined. As the days passed, Ethan began to adjust to his new life with Lyra. At first, the strange arrangement had felt awkward. But as they spent more time together, something unexpected began to happen. He started to feel a sense of connection with her. She wasn't just some alien from another world, she was a partner. And despite the differences between them, they were starting to understand each other. Ethan's mornings had changed completely. Instead of waking up to the quiet hum of his apartment and preparing for work, he now woke up to Lyra sitting by the window, staring out at the city's skyline with a calm, peaceful expression on her face. "Good morning, Ethan," she would say with a smile, her voice as soft and gentle as ever. "Morning," Ethan would reply, still adjusting to the fact that he wasn't waking up alone anymore. But it wasn't a bad thing. There was something comforting about having Lyra around, even if it was still new to him. Their days were filled with learning and discovery. Lyra would explain the Zarya customs to him, and Ethan would tell her about Earth's culture. They spent hours talking about everything from the simple things, like what food was typical for humans, to the more complex, like the history of their respective civilizations. The more they learned about each other, the more they realized how much they had to offer one another. One afternoon, as they sat together in the living room, Ethan glanced over at Lyra, who was flipping through a book on Earth history. "Hey, Lyra," Ethan said, his curiosity piqued. "What's it like back on your planet? I mean, I know you told me about it before, but I want to understand more." Lyra put the book down and looked at him, her silver eyes thoughtful. "On Zarya, we live in harmony with the land. Our cities are built within nature. We do not harm the environment. We use technology to work with it. It is difficult for some of us to imagine a life that is not in balance with nature." Ethan nodded. "I can understand that. I guess here on Earth we've been fighting to find that balance for a long time. Some people try really hard, but it's tough when so many things pull in different directions." People are always chasing progress, but sometimes I think we forget about what's truly important. Lyra smiled softly. It is easy to forget, especially when you are surrounded by so much noise. But remember, change begins with each person. You can make a difference, no matter how small it seems. Ethan paused, her words making him think. Maybe she was right. Maybe he could start making small changes in his life, just as she had suggested. He'd always thought his life was too ordinary, too unimportant to matter. But now with Lyra beside him, he was starting to see things differently. Later that week, Lyra took him on a walk through the city, showing him some of the more peaceful areas of the planet. The parks, the gardens, and even the simple streets were peaceful compared to the bustling areas Ethan had grown up in. Everywhere they went, Lyra seemed to know someone or something, and people greeted her warmly. It was clear that she had made connections in her short time on Earth as they walked. Lyra explained, the Zarya believe that connections, both with people and nature, are essential for growth. We do not live in isolation. You're all part of a greater whole. Our mission here on Earth is not just about diplomacy, but about learning how to live with others, to make bonds that help us understand each other better. Ethan listened closely, realizing that what Lyra was saying went beyond just political alliances or treaties. It was about building real, meaningful connections that could change the future. A week later, Ethan found himself growing more comfortable in his new life with Lyra. He was beginning to see her not just as his assigned wife, but as someone he could count on. She was kind, thoughtful, and always willing to listen. In return, he tried to be the same for her. One evening, after a long day of talking about their cultures and sharing stories, Ethan decided to open up to Lyra in a way he hadn't done before. They were sitting on the couch, the soft glow of the city lights coming through the window. "You know, Lyra," he said quietly, "I never thought I'd be doing something like this. Living with someone from another planet, it's all a lot to take in, but I think I'm starting to understand why we were brought together." Lyra turned her head to look at him, her eyes filled with warmth. "And what do you understand?" Ethan, he hesitated for a moment, unsure of how to express his feelings. "I think it's about more than just sharing a life. It's about helping each other see things in a new way. I've spent so much of my life just going through the motions, doing what was expected. But with you, I feel like there's a chance to learn, to grow. Maybe I've been missing something all along." Lyra smiled, a soft, knowing smile. "I believe that is the beginning of understanding. We may come from different worlds, but our hearts are the same. We both want to grow, to help others, and to make a difference." Ethan smiled back, feeling a sense of peace settle in his chest. This was the connection he had been searching for, a partnership that wasn't about duty or tradition, but about mutual respect, learning, and understanding. In the weeks that followed, their bond grew stronger. They faced the challenges of their differences, but they also learned to appreciate the things that made them unique. Ethan helped Lyra navigate the complexities of human society, and in turn, she taught him lessons he had never thought about before, about balance, harmony, and the power of connecting with others. Ethan still didn't have all the answers about his future, but with Lyra by his side, he felt like he was finally on the right path. Together, they were starting to build something special. Something that it wasn't just about Earth or the Zarya, but about the bond between two people, two worlds, and the possibilities that lay ahead. Ethan's life with Lyra was far from ordinary, but it wasn't without its challenges. Over time, the novelty of their unusual partnership began to wear off, and the reality of living with an alien companion became more apparent. As they navigated their shared life, it became clear that not everyone was as accepting of their bond as they were. One evening, after a long day of meetings and lessons about Zarya culture, Ethan and Lyra sat down to dinner in their small apartment. The soft hum of the city outside filled the silence between them. Lyra was eating quietly, but her eyes kept flicking to Ethan, who was lost in thought. "Ethan," she said softly, "you seem troubled. What is on your mind?" Ethan set his fork down and looked at her. "It's just, things are different now. I feel like people are starting to look at us differently." Some of my coworkers, the people I pass on the street, can feel their stares. It's like they're judging us, or they don't understand why this is happening. Lyra's face softened. I understand. It is not easy for people to accept something they have never seen before.
Ow.
But we must remember that change is hard for many. People will take time to adjust, just as we are adjusting to one another. Ethan sighed. I know. It's just frustrating. I've never been one for attention, and now it feels like the whole world is watching. I don't know if I'm ready for this. Lyra reached across the table and placed her hand on his. You are not alone in this, Ethan. We are in this together. You have me, and I have you. We will face the challenges as partners, Ethan smiled at her, appreciating the support, but deep down, he knew that their journey wasn't going to be easy. The rest of the world might not understand what they were doing, and they would have to fight to prove that their bond was more than just a political arrangement. The next day, things only seemed to get more complicated. Ethan's boss, a man named Mr. Harris, called him into his office. As soon as Ethan walked in, he could tell something was off. Mr. Harris was sitting behind his desk, arms crossed, looking at him with a stern expression. Ethan, Mr. Harris said, his voice serious, I've been hearing some things. Some people are concerned about this new arrangement between you and the Zarya. I don't need to remind you that you represent Earth's image to the galaxy. Your partnership is supposed to help improve relations, not create tension. Ethan felt a knot tighten in his stomach. I understand, sir, he replied, trying to keep his voice steady. You need to be careful. Mr. Harris continued, his eyes narrowing. People are talking, and if this doesn't work out, it could hurt Earth's standing with the Zarya. Do you really think this is the right choice? Ethan's heart raced. The pressure was starting to get to him. I don't see how it's any of your business, sir, he said, trying to keep his tone neutral. Lyra and I are just getting to know each other. There's nothing more to it than that. Mr. Harris leaned forward, his eyes narrowing. It's not just about you. It's about Earth's future. If this partnership falters, it could set us back with the Zarya, and that's something we can't afford right now. Ethan left the office feeling frustrated and confused. He didn't know how to fix things, or even if things needed fixing. All he knew was that he was trying his best, and Lyra was by his side, supporting him through it all. When he got home, he found Lyra waiting for him, sitting quietly by the window. She looked up when he entered, her eyes filled with concern. How was your day? She asked softly. Ethan sat down next to her, rubbing his face with his hands. Not great, my boss. He doesn't think this partnership is a good idea. Says people are starting to question it. It feels like everyone's looking at us like we're a problem. Lyra placed a hand on his shoulder. Ethan, we knew this would not be easy. We are pioneers in this new chapter of Earth's history. People fear what they do not understand, but we must stand firm. Our bond is strong, and we cannot let the doubts of others tear us apart. Ethan nodded, but deep down he wasn't sure if he could handle the pressure. He had never been the type to deal with conflict or criticism. He had always kept to himself, blending into the background. Now, with Lyra, he was standing in the spotlight, and it felt like too much. Over the next few weeks, the tension only seemed to grow. Lyra continued to support Ethan, but he could see the strain in her eyes as well. She wasn't immune to the harsh looks and whispers from others. The more they tried to explain their bond to the world, the more people seemed to misunderstand it. But despite everything, Lyra remained calm and patient. She continued to show Ethan the beauty of her culture and helped him navigate his growing responsibilities. Slowly, Ethan began to feel the weight of their mission, not just as a partnership, but as a symbol of Earth's future. The Zarya weren't just a peaceful species. They were a chance for humanity to change, to grow, and to be a part of something much bigger than themselves. One evening, as they sat together, Lyra spoke softly. Ethan, you are doing well. I know this is not easy, but you are learning. We are both learning. Ethan looked at her, feeling a warmth spread through him. I'm trying, Lyra, but it's hard. I never realized how much pressure comes with being in the spotlight. Lyra smiled gently. I understand. But remember, you are not alone in this. We are a team, and together, We will face whatever comes our way. Ethan smiled back, feeling a renewed sense of determination. He wasn't sure how the future would unfold, but with Lyra by his side, he knew he could face whatever challenges came their way. They were more than just a political assignment. They were partners, and together, they would build a future. Ethan had thought things were starting to settle down. The tension with his co-workers seemed to have calmed. And while there were still whispers here and there, he and Lyra had managed to find a routine. They had started to enjoy their time together, sharing meals, discussing their cultures, and learning from each other. There were still challenges, of course, but Ethan felt like they were becoming a team, something he had never experienced before. But just when he thought things were calming down, the peaceful balance they had built together was shattered. It all began with a message. It arrived in the middle of one of their quiet evenings. Ethan and Lyra were sitting together, enjoying a simple meal, when Ethan's phone buzzed. He picked it up, expecting another work-related message, or perhaps a reminder about their next meeting, but this message was different. It was from a government official. "Ethan, there is a situation. Please come to the Government Liaison Center immediately. We need to discuss an urgent matter regarding the Zarya Alliance. It concerns your partnership." Ethan's stomach dropped. He looked at Lyra, who had already seen the look on his face. Her expression shifted from calm to concern. "What is it, Ethan?" she asked, her voice filled with worry. "I don't know," he said, standing up quickly. "But it doesn't sound good. I have to go." Lyra stood as well. "I will come with you." Ethan hesitated. "Lyra, I am part of this too," she interrupted gently. "Whatever it is, we face it together," he nodded, appreciating her strength. Together, they left their apartment and made their way to the Government Liaison Center. The city outside seemed more ominous than usual, the lights flashing in a way that made Ethan feel uneasy. He couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong, and as they entered the building, that feeling only grew stronger. They were led into a large conference room, where several high-ranking officials were already waiting. Ethan recognized a few of them government advisors and diplomats who had been working on the Earth-Zarya alliance. But there was something tense in the room, an unease that wasn't just because of the late hour. One of the officials, a woman named Jennifer, stood up as they entered. "Ethan, Lyra, thank you for coming so quickly. What's going on?" Ethan asked, his voice tight. Jennifer looked at him seriously. "We've received troubling news. A faction of rogue Zarya, known as the Velek, has been causing unrest. On their homeworld, they're opposed to the Earth-Zarya alliance and have made threats against your relationship. Ethan, they believe that your bond with Lyra is weakening the Zarya people, and they plan to disrupt the peace." Lyra stiffened at the mention of the Velek. The Velek have always been a radical group. But why now? Why threaten Earth? Jennifer shook her head. "We don't know yet. But they've made their intentions clear. They've already started sending messages to several high-ranking officials, warning that the Zarya who work with humans will be punished. They want to sever the alliance before it can grow any stronger." Ethan looked at Lyra, his mind racing. He had never imagined that their relationship, something that had begun as a diplomatic assignment, could become a target. The weight of the situation was sinking in, and the reality of their bond, what it meant not just for them, but for the future of two species, was more real than ever. "So what happens now?" Ethan asked, his voice steady, despite the storm of emotions. "Inside, we need to ensure that the alliance is not fractured by this," Jennifer replied. "We are increasing security measures around Earth and the Zarya, but we also need your help. The Velek are dangerous. They have supporters among both humans and Zarya. We need to stay ahead of them and protect the progress we've made." Lyra's eyes narrowed, a fierce determination taking hold of her. "I will not let a small group of radicals tear down what we've built. I will speak to the Zarya Council. I will make it clear that we will not bow to threats." Ethan admired her resolve. He had known Lyra was strong, but seeing this side of her made him feel even more determined to protect their bond and the future of their species. "I'll help you, Lyra, whatever it takes." Jennifer nodded. "We will support you both, but we must move quickly." The Velic are already making plans, and they will not stop until they've achieved their goal. And Ethan and Lyra returned to their apartment, the weight of the news heavy on their shoulders. They knew the road ahead would be difficult, but they were determined to face it together. The alliance between Earth and the Zarya had already begun to change the future. They couldn't let a radical group destroy everything they had worked for. In the days that followed, Ethan and Lyra worked closely with the government and the Zarya Council to prepare for the Velic's potential actions. There were rumors of sabotage, of attacks on key infrastructure, and the constant threat of violence. But through it all, they remained united. Ethan found himself growing more confident. In his role, Lyra's presence beside him made him feel stronger, and he was starting to understand the weight of their bond. It wasn't just about Earth's survival. It was about the future of two worlds and the lives of countless people who depended on the alliance. One night, after a particularly long day of meetings, Ethan and Lyra stood on the balcony of their apartment, looking out at the city below. The night air was cool, and the lights of the city shimmered in the distance, you know? Ethan said, his voice low. I never imagined my life would be like this. I never thought I'd be fighting for something bigger than myself. Lyra turned to him, her expression soft. It is a heavy burden, but it is a worthwhile one. We are not just fighting for ourselves, but for a future where humans and Zarya can live in peace. We are making history, Ethan. Ethan nodded. For the first time, he truly understood what Lyra meant. He wasn't just protecting a relationship. He was protecting the future of both Earth and the Zarya. And in that moment, he knew he would do whatever it took to keep that future alive. The Velic would not win. Together they would stand strong. E's were mobilized, and diplomatic efforts intensified. Ethan and Lyra were in constant communication with both sides, coordinating efforts to protect the alliance. There were moments of fear, but there were also moments of hope. Every time the situation seemed dire, Lyra was there, offering words of encouragement, reminding Ethan of the bigger picture. After several tense days, the Velic were finally defeated. The attack on the diplomatic outpost was stopped before it could cause any lasting damage. Victory was not just a military one, it was a symbol of the strength of the Earth-Zarya alliance, of the bond that Ethan and Lyra had forged. As the dust settled and the news of their victory spread, Ethan and Lyra stood together, watching the sun rise over the city. It had been a long, difficult journey, but they had made it through. We did it, Ethan said, his voice filled with awe. Lyra smiled, her eyes soft. We did, Ethan, but this is only the beginning. There is much more to be done. Ethan took a deep breath, feeling a new sense of purpose fill him. The future was uncertain, but one thing was clear. He wasn't alone in this fight. He had Lyra, and together they would continue to build something stronger than either of them could have imagined on their own. The alliance between Earth and the Zarya was more than just a political agreement. It was a partnership, one based on respect, understanding, and the shared goal of creating a better future for both species. And with that, Ethan realized that his life had changed forever. He had gone from a man who felt lost and uncertain to someone who was part of something much bigger than himself. He wasn't just living for today, he was living for tomorrow. As the sun rose higher in the sky, Ethan and Lyra stood side by side, ready to face whatever challenges the future would bring.